So today is day 6 of covering 650 prayers of the Bible. And today we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 18 and 19, which are prayers for a wicked city. Yesterday we covered Genesis 17, and we learned about the significance of God changing a name as being a sign of favor and promise when he changed Abram's name to Abraham and established the new covenant, the permanent covenant, that which we operate on today. So again, we're going to start with chapter 18 and 19 today. In 18, we're going to have in this chapter, Abraham and Sarah will be visited by 3 travelers. And if you, from during that ancient times, or the ancient times of the Near East, that was a time when hospitality to a traveler was expected. We're reading from the CSB version of the Bible today. The Lord appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day. He looked up and he saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them, bowed to the ground and said, "My Lord, if I have found favor with you, please do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought to you may wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. I will bring a bit of bread so that you may strengthen yourselves. This is why you have passed your servant's way. Later you can continue on." "Yes," they replied, "do as you have said." So Abraham hurried into the tent and said to Sarah, "Quick, knead 3 measures of fine flour and make bread." Abraham ran to the herd and got a tender, choice calf. He gave it to a young man who hurried to prepare it. Then Abraham took curds and milk, as well as the calf that he had prepared, and set them before the men. He served them, and they ate under the tree. Take note here that there is spiritual significance of eating under a tree. Okay, anyway, we continue on verse 9. "Where is your wife Sarah?" they asked. "There in the tent," he answered. The Lord said, "I will certainly come back to you in about a year's time, and your wife Sarah would have a son." Now Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent behind him. Abraham and Sarah were old and getting on in years. Sarah had passed the age of childbearing, so she laughed to herself. "After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I have delight?" But the Lord asked Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, 'Can I really have a baby when I'm old?' Is anything impossible for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will come back to you, and in about a year, she will have a son." Sarah denied it. "I did not laugh," she said, because she was afraid. But he replied, "No, you did laugh." So we continue on verse 16. The men got up from there and looked out over Sodom, and Abraham was walking with them to see them off. Then the Lord said, "Should I hide what I am about to do from Abraham? Abraham is to become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him so that he will command his children and his house after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. This is how the Lord will fulfill to Abraham what he promised him." Then the Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is immense, and their sin is extremely serious. I will go down to see if what they have done justifies the cry that has come up from me. If not, I will find out." The men turned from there and went toward Sodom, while Abraham remained standing before the Lord. Abraham stepped forward and said, "Will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away instead of sparing the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people who are in it? You could not possibly do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. You could not possibly do that. Won't the judge of the whole earth do what is just?" The Lord said, If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake. Then Abraham answered, Since I have ventured to speak to my Lord, even though I am dust and ashes, suppose the 50 righteous lack 5. Will you destroy the whole city for lack of 5? He replied, I will not destroy it if I find 45 there. Then he spoke to him again, Suppose 40 are found there. He answered, I will not do it on account of 40. Then he said, Let my Lord not be angry, and I will speak further. Suppose 30 are found there. He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Then he said, Since I have ventured to speak to my Lord, suppose 20 are found there. He replied, I will not destroy it on account of 20. Then he said, Let my Lord not be angry, and I will speak one more time. Suppose 10 are found there. He answered, I will not destroy it on account of 10. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he departed, and Abraham returned to his place. That concludes chapter 18 of Genesis. Now we'll move on to chapter 19. So in chapter 19, we're going to see Lot experience the consequences of his choice, which specifically is where Lot was Abraham's nephew who had traveled with him from Haran. After their servants had quarreled over grazing land, Lot had separated from Abraham and dwelt near the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. So this is what we're seeing, the consequences of his choice through the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So chapter 19 starts with, let's begin. The two angels entered Sodom in the evening as Lot was sitting in Sodom's gateway. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them. He bowed with his face to the ground and said, My lords, turn aside to your servant's house, wash your feet, and spend the night. Then you can get up early and go on your way. No, they said, we would rather spend the night in the square. But he urged them so strongly that they followed him and went to his house. He prepared a feast and baked unleavened bread for them, and they ate. Before they went to bed, the men of the city of Sodom, both young and old, the whole population surrounded the house. They called out to Lot and said, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out to us so we can have sex with them. Lot went out to them at the entrance and shut the door behind him. He said, Don't do this evil, my brothers. Look, I've got 2 daughters who haven't been intimate with a man. I'll bring them out to you, and you can do whatever you want to them. However, don't do anything to these men, because they have come under the protection of my roof. Here we can see that Lot had great influence since he sat at Sodom's gateway, and he had great influence to impact the gates. Anyway, we resume at verse 9. Get out of the way, they said, adding, This one came here as an alien, but he's acting like a judge. Now we'll do more harm to you than to them. They put pressure on Lot and came up to break down the door. But the angels reached out, brought Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the entrance of the house, both young and old, with blindness. So you can see that these men that were at Lot's house were actually angels. So we continue. They struck the men with blindness so that they were unable to find the entrance. Then the angel said to Lot, Do you have anyone else here, a son-in-law, your daughters, your sons, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of this place, for we are about to destroy this place, because the outcry against his people is so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were going to marry his daughters. Get up, he said, get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. At daybreak, the angels urged Lot on. Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city. But he hesitated. Because of the Lord's compassion for him, the men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand and the hands of his 2 daughters. They brought him out and left him outside of the city. As soon as the angels got them outside, one of them said, "Run for your lives. Don't look back, and don't stop anywhere on the plain. Run to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please. Your servant has indeed found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness by saving my life. But I can't run to the mountains. The disaster will overtake me, and I will die. Look, this town is close enough for me to flee to. It is a small place. Please let me run to it. It's only a small place, isn't it? So that I can survive." And he said to him, "All right, I'll grant your request about this matter too, and will not demolish the town you mentioned. Hurry up, run to it, for I cannot do anything until you get there." Therefore the name of the city is Zoar. The sun had risen over the land when Lot reached Zoar. Then out of the sky the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah burning sulfur from the Lord. He demolished these cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Early in the morning, Abraham went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain, and he saw that smoke was going up from the land like the smoke of a furnace. So it was, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the middle of the upheaval when he demolished the cities where Lot had lived. Now here you can see that God honored the permanent covenant that he had made with Abraham when God saved Lot before destroying Sodom. We still benefit from that covenant today. Okay, now we continue on verse 30. Lot departed from Zoar and lived in the mountains along with his 2 daughters because he was afraid to live in Zoar. Instead, he and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. Then the firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man in the land to sleep with us, as in the custom of all the land. Come, let's go. Let's get our father to drink wine so that we can sleep with him and preserve our father's line." So they got their father to drink wine that night, and the firstborn came and slept with her father. He did not know when he lay down and when he got up. The next day, the firstborn said to the younger, "Look, I slept with my father last night. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight so you can go sleep with him and we can preserve our father's line." That night, they again got their father to drink wine, and the younger went and slept with him. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she named him Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the Ammonites of today. Here you can see the evidence of incest in Lot's lineage. And the Moabites and the Ammonites, they are now the root of the wrong choices made by the daughters, to follow through in incest, which then resulted in these descendants, the Moabites, the descendants of the Moabites, the descendants of the Ammonites, plaguing the Hebrews for centuries. So as you can see, this origin of the sin with the Moab and the Ben-Ammi people that are formed from these bloodlines, and this sin alone later causes them to become future enemies. This also begs the question, the fact that Lot did not run to the mountains like the angels originally told him, but instead negotiated so that he can go to a smaller town that was closer, the town of Zoar. If him not going to the original location may have also been the result of this, because instead he went to the mountains, to a cave rather. He went to the cave. And then just speculations. Because of this example, where through incest Lot fathered the Moabites, and through incest Lot fathered the Ben-Ammi, the Ammonites, it's clear that the root of these wrong choices, it didn't stay dormant. So it's important that you pray every day that God lead you to make right choices every single day. You can do a simple prayer of something like, God, help me to make right choices in alignment with your will on this road of life. Overall, the message is just to flee from the influence and destruction caused by a sinful culture, and also just help others reject the influence of a sinful culture and move toward the light of God's love every day. Okay, well, we'll continue tomorrow with more of the 650 prayers in the Bible.